Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're talking about the AI that is absolutely everywhere right now. It's the engine behind tools like ChatGPT, and it's already changing how we work, how we create, and maybe even how we think. So let's jump right in.
It really feels like something out of a movie, doesn't it? You can ask a computer to whip up a marketing email, write a poem about, I don't know, a lonely sock, or even find a bug in its own code, and it just does it. So how on earth is that possible?
Well, that magic has a name: large language models. You've probably heard the acronym LLMs. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and really get a feel for what they are and, more importantly, how they actually work.
All right, first up, AI that understands language. So why is this suddenly such a huge deal? Well, because this isn't some experiment locked away in a lab anymore. This technology is out in the wild, and it is actively reshaping our world as we speak.
The changes we're seeing are pretty fundamental. These LLMs are putting seriously powerful AI tools into the hands of, well, just about anyone. It's supercharging productivity everywhere. And think about it. We're moving past just clicking on icons. We're starting to have actual conversations with our computers, changing how we find and use information itself. So let's get to the big question. How do they do that? It can all feel like this mysterious black box, But we're going to take a peek inside. And don't worry, we'll keep it simple.
Okay, so at its core, an LLM is basically a giant pattern recognition machine. It's been fed a massive, and I mean massive, library of text. Think of a huge slice of the internet, millions of books, articles, everything. Now, by sifting through all that data, it doesn't understand things the way you and I do. Instead, it gets incredibly good at recognizing the statistical patterns, which words tend to follow others, the structure of a good sentence, and the context of an idea. And building one of these things, it's a huge undertaking. First, you have to collect just insane amounts of text data. We're talking terabytes. Then comes this phase called pre-training, which is super expensive and energy intensive. That's where the model reads everything and just learns the general rules of language. After that, it gets fine-tuned on more specific examples to get good at certain things, like being a helpful chatbot. And finally, it gets tested like crazy for safety and performance before it ever gets to us.
Now, if there's one secret sauce to modern AI, this is it. It's a breakthrough concept called the attention mechanism. See, older models really struggled with long-term context, but this changed everything. It lets the model look at an entire sentence and figure out which words are most important to which other words, no matter how far apart they are.
And this example just makes it all click. When you or I read this sentence, we instantly know it refers to the trophy, right? The attention mechanism is what gives the AI that same superpower. It analyzes the whole sentence, and it learns to pay more attention to the word trophy when it's trying to figure out what it means. That ability to solve ambiguity is absolutely crucial for writing anything that makes sense.
To really wrap your head around the scale we're talking about, just look at this number. A state-of-the-art model is estimated to have 1.76 trillion parameters. Now, you can think of these parameters as tiny little knobs. During its training, the AI tunes each and every one of these trillions of knobs to help it define the subtle connections between words and ideas. That immense number is what gives these models their incredible nuance and power.
Okay, so now that we've got a handle on the tech, let's take a look at the landscape, because LLM isn't just one thing. It's a whole category with some major players and actually some very different philosophies on how to build this stuff. The field is really split into two main camps right now. On one side, you've got the proprietary or closed source models. These come from the big tech giants. They're often the most powerful and have a ton of support, but they're a black box. You can't see how they work. On the other side, you have open source models. These are built by communities of researchers who believe in transparency. They let anyone look at the code, build on it, and customize it, which has led to some amazing innovation. And there are a few key players you'll hear about all the time. Of course, there's OpenAI, the pioneers who really brought this to the mainstream with their GPT series. You've got Google, a research leader for years whose models power things like its search engine. Then there's Anthropic, which is laser-focused on AI safety, and Meta, which has really become a champion for the open source world with its super popular Llama models.
So we know the tech and we know the key players, but where does the rubber actually meet the road? Let's zoom out and see how these models are already being used out in the real world. No big surprise, the tech industry is way out in front, adopting this stuff left and right. But you can see other areas are catching up fast, especially finance. And then you have fields like healthcare, which are being a bit more cautious, for good reason, given the stakes, but the potential for transformation there is just massive. Just take a look at healthcare. LLMs are already helping doctors by analyzing patient info to suggest possible diagnoses. They're saving clinicians from mountains of paperwork by automating documentation. And for scientists, they're like super-powered research assistants that can read and summarize thousands of papers to help them find that next big breakthrough. And the impact on business and education is just as big. We're seeing customer service bots that are actually helpful for once. Marketing content and ads are becoming hyper-personalized. For coders, it's like having an AI partner to help you write and debug. And in schools, these models can act as personal tutors that adapt to every single student's way of learning. But it's not all a perfect success story. This technology is incredibly powerful, and that power brings some pretty serious challenges with it. And we have to navigate those very, very carefully. Is the classic line, right? With great power comes great responsibility and great challenges. So as we start weaving these tools into the fabric of our society, what are the biggest risks we really need to get ahead of? Maybe the single biggest issue is right here. Some studies show that current LLMs can hallucinate, that's the technical term for just making stuff up, as much as 30% of the time. Just think about that for a second. That means they can invent facts, cite research papers that don't even exist, and deliver total nonsense with the confidence of an expert. When it comes to reliability, that is a huge problem. And it's not just the hallucinations. There are other major hurdles. Because these models learn from text written by humans on the internet, they learn our biases too and can even amplify them. They're also wildly expensive and use a ton of energy to train. And on top of all that, there are massive, unanswered legal and privacy questions about all the data they're trained on. Solving these problems is a central mission for the entire field right now. So here's the bottom line. This technology isn't some sci-fi dream anymore. It is here. It's a tool with incredible potential for good, but it's one that also carries very real risks. The real question isn't if this technology is going to change our world, it's how we are going to change it. The choices we all make today are going to decide what kind of future this technology helps us build. Thanks for watching.